Happy Monday, Titans fans, and welcome back for another episode of Titans Latest. I am Brent Smith, your host of the show, over here on Fan Arch Network. Guys, this is meant to be, as I say every time, your one-stop shop Monday through Friday to get 4 pieces of news and information about the Tennessee Titans. Try to get you to it in 20 minutes or less to respect your day, get you in and out of here, and hopefully if you listen every day of the week, you get 20 news topics that you might have only gotten 4 or 5 in the time that you have to pay attention to this stuff otherwise without me doing it for you. So, guys, welcome back. I appreciate it. Hopefully it's a beautiful day where you are. Here in Ohio, where I am, it's awesome today. Low humidity, like mid-60s, driving in about 9 a.m. So just a great way to start the day. So hopefully you guys are having a great start to your day as well. But first thing I want to get into today, guys, is, by the way, I hope you had a great weekend as well. But first thing I want to get into today is just, as you can see, it's about the host. And I have told you guys since the beginning of the show on a couple of the early episodes that from time to time I wanted to inform you a little bit more about who I am, because I just feel like anything that I watch, anything that I'm a part of, anything that I'm long-term committed to as a viewer or a fan, I love to get to know more about the people that I'm actually listening to every single day. And if you don't want that, skip to the next topic. It's fine with me. I won't be offended. But we did have a person or two ask since last week about a couple things, and I wanted to get to that. So first of all, again, I'm Brent Smith. I live in Ohio. I lived in Nashville for 9 years pursuing music. Did pretty well with it while I was there. Did everything except for get a record deal. But I had record deals offered. It just they weren't good deals at the time. And so my management and I decided not to take them. But I was on a TV show called Nashville Star. I got 6th place on there. Then I ended up doing a video that had the theme song for a movie about Dale Earnhardt, and pursued that for a while. Had a video on CMT and different things like that, and then ended up on American Idol and being in the top 20 of American Idol in 2009, I believe was when that was. So long time ago, feels like another lifetime, but I've done music for a very, very long time. So if you look behind me, you can see I have guitars. I'm actually in the recording studio that I work in. Now, I don't work specifically in a recording studio. I actually work in Christian ministry. I am a worship leader, music director, production director here. Been here for about 10 years at this church in my hometown, and have really just enjoyed the heck out of it. Have loved doing it. Never thought I would end up in ministry, but God takes you where he wants you to go. And so anyway, that's where I am. But I've created a music studio here. And we write and record our own music and do that all kinds of stuff. So that's where I am. That's why there's sound panels on the wall. Over here you'll see guitar. Down here we've got some amps and things like that. So these are not just for show. These are actually things that I have in here in the studio set up, and they do get used often. So that's that about the room that I'm in. But somebody actually asked me, it's hard on here because I want to go to this side, but on this side here. So somebody asked me this week about this jersey right here. It is a Jonnu Smith jersey. And they were like, what's the deal with that? That's kind of a random jersey to have, which I have Henry jerseys. I have Kevin Byard jerseys. I've got all that stuff that I might swap this out from time to time. But being a fan of this team, and for a long time, I really like Jonnu Smith. Let me start here. I have always had an affinity for the tight end position on an NFL team. Don't know why. I think for one thing, I've just always been myself, kind of a jack of all trades kind of guy. And I really appreciate that about the tight end position. They're kind of the jack of all trades when it comes to the offense. They're the tight end, obviously. Most commonly, they work as a wide receiver, but they also have to be an offensive lineman at the end of the line that can hop in there and help facilitate for more blocking if it's needed. Sometimes they'll work as a running back and run the ball on some plays. So they kind of have to know everything and be a part of everything. Tight end coaches like Art Smith, they tend to have a much more successful transition into becoming offensive coordinators because the tight end position and the tight end coach have to know so much about the entire offense and what's going on with all of it, so they're already well versed there. And another thing I've mentioned too, I love to play fantasy football, and I have a tendency to overdraft the tight end position because if you hit on the tight end position, it can really help you win some championships. So, like if you get Gronkowski, if you got him in his prime, Travis Kelce in his prime, I know he's starting to tail off the last few years, but if you can get a player like that, especially one that's emerging that nobody else is aware of yet that you can pick up, then you can really, it's almost like having another wide receiver one on your bench or on your team to be able to start every week. And so, anyway, lots of reasons that I like the wide receiver or the tight end position. So anyway, just wanted to let you guys know about that. But this, see, I did it again. This jersey over here, I loved on the Titans. I was a huge fan of Delaney Walker. Loved him when he was here. We drafted Jonnu Smith. Loved that guy when he was here. He's a free agent right now, I think. I'd love it if we brought him back for a season or two. And right now I'm a Gunnar Helm fan. So like I said, I love the position. I just gravitate towards them. But this jersey I love too because, as I've told you, my name is Brent K. Smith. His name's Jonnu Smith. So if you can get a jersey, it's kind of a poor man's way of getting a custom jersey, but if you can get a jersey that has your last name on it, of a player that has your last name on the team that you're actually a legitimate fan of anyway, once they move on, because everybody does eventually, it's part of the reason that it makes it hard to really want to invest all the money in a jersey because you only get it for a couple of years unless they become a legend like Henry or something like that, or Earl Campbell or Steve McNair or Warren Moon. Unless it's somebody like that, it kind of becomes a pointless thing to wear the jersey, or almost feel a little weird to wear it when they're not on the team anymore. So this was kind of a poor man's way to get an evergreen jersey that always is legit and works for me because that's my last name on there. So even if Jonnu Smith has moved on, I'm still Smith. So it's kind of like I got a custom jersey. So anyway, I have that displayed up here. And just what else is on this back here. So this right here, you can see, is actually I've told you before, I do a little bit of graphic design and stuff. So when Derrick Henry was on the team, because he's King Henry, I did an animated version of him as a king in like garb from back in like the Middle Ages and stuff. So that's King Henry there. This is a little like wire metal guy that you can't see it very well, but he has a Tennessee Titans, one of the old white Tennessee Titans helmets before we came back to the white this year. And then I've got, like I told you, I'm a musician. This is hard. I've got guitar picks over here that were a gift that are Titans. This is obviously a cup. I've got a Titans hat up here. So anyway, guys, I've just got a lot of gear and stuff because I've been a fan of this team for 26 years. So anyway, people were asking, wanted to let you know a little bit more about me, a little bit more about where I am and where I'm recording and what's behind me and all that kind of stuff. So moving on from that, I'm already 7 minutes into the episode, so sorry about that. I'm only doing it because I want to let you know who I am, and people were asking. I'm not one that's going to sit here and just blather on about myself regularly all the time, so please don't think that that's what's going to happen just because I did it just now. So anyway, moving on, guys. Two quick things I wanted to get to here next is Cam Ward. If you have been paying attention to the OTAs and what's been going on with him, people are losing their minds right now in the last week or two because Cam has not looked very good at OTAs. And, if you want to freak out about it, I guess freak out about it. But I've told you guys already on previous episodes that beware, I think twice now, beware of the overhype, like the positive hype that comes out of OTAs and comes out of the offseason with camp and everything else. Because people will have you thinking that we're going to win the Super Bowl every year coming out of that stuff if you get too caught up in it. So I've said beware of the positive hype. But one thing I didn't say that I need to say is beware of the negative hype as well. Because people will see a player struggling a little bit in OTAs or in camp or whatever, and it's like the world is ending. And it's not. And I'll explain why here real quick, but watch out for the negative hype too, because there's so much negative hype on Cam Ward right now that it's pretty ridiculous and over the top. And I know a lot of people do things for clicks. I want to let you guys know too, I know that the graphics on this show look like clickbait a bit, and I hate that. I'm sorry for you guys about that. I only record the show. I don't make those graphics. Somebody else that I have to send it to over at FanArch makes those graphics. And so I am not a clickbait hype kind of guy. I'm not going to be super animated for you guys every day. I want to be real. I want to be authentic with you guys. I want to be a fan of this show or a fan of this team on this show, but also just be somebody that's like talking to a normal person for you guys. I don't want to be another talking head that's this big over-animated fake person for you guys. So I'm always going to be real and authentic for you. If you appreciate that, let me know, and please stick around. Share the word to anybody else that you think might appreciate that too. But anyway, I'm not ever going to overhype or underhype anything. I'm just going to be honest and tell you how I feel about stuff. And so my situation here with Cam Ward is, with all this negative hype stuff that they're doing for clickbait and just big talking points and trying to get people to get traffic over to their sites and stuff like that, is what I feel, because it's so over the top. Cam Ward is struggling at OTAs. That is legitimate. I want to read real quick. I've got a couple of screenshots here that I took just to show you, not examples of the over or under hype, but just examples of some people reporting on how Cam's not looking great at camp this year, or at OTAs. So Terry McCormick reported last week. He said, talking about Cam, he said the most accurate throws have been the shorter stuff, not much over about 15 yards in the air. He has struggled on throws to the sideline at times, more to the right, it seems, than to the left, and the deep ball just hasn't been there except for one great throw to Tate on Monday from, I think, the previous week. So then we've got another one here. It's from an article that I think was on the Tennessee Titans site or X account or whatever. But it says from a reporter, maybe Jim Wyatt. He's kind of the in-house, the kind of reporter for them, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on Jim Wyatt here. But it said it wasn't a great day for quarterback Cam Ward, who hasn't looked very sharp in these recent OTAs. Ward has missed some throws, and the offense has failed to execute on other plays. Ward was 2 of 5 in the opening team period and 6 of 8 in a move the ball period that looked a little bit better. But Ward went 1 of 4 in a scenario that gave the first team offense 52 seconds and 2 timeouts with the ball at their own 20, needing a field goal. Aside from that, a short completion to Xavier Restrepo. Besides that, Ward couldn't get much going. So, it's not great looking for Ward right now. Here's the deal. Cam Ward, as you know, is a second-year quarterback. And also, as you know, he came out of a train wreck situation last year, coming into Brian Callahan being his head coach and his offensive coordinator. Well, he wasn't the offensive coordinator by title, but he was the head of the offense and what they were doing. He was directing it all. And so that was just a mess. It was an ugly mess. And then, they fired Callahan, I think like 6 games into the season, something like that. It wasn't too far into the season. And then we had Mike McCoy, I think was who it was. I'm having a brain fart right now for his name. I think that was who it was, as the interim coach for the rest of the season. So Cam, as a rookie, was dealing with all the stuff rookies deal with, and being on a team that was already not very good before. And then his head coach, who was not good, and in the offense that he was coming into that was not good, then he switches to an interim head coach. And he's still halfway through the season. If you watched an episode I did last week, halfway through the season, he really found his stride and turned things around and started to look more like what you want your quarterback to look like, and starting to find his stride. And so that's great. But now, in his second season, after all of that, and I'm not doing this to make excuses for Cam Ward. I'm just being realistic about the situation that he's in. His second season now, brand new head coach, brand new offensive coordinator, new players around him. All this situation, he's having to learn all this stuff all over again now. And OTAs is the place, and Robert Saleh has even said it, OTAs is the place that you really want to lean into figuring this stuff out. You take risks. You make throws that you maybe wouldn't make. You're learning what to question and what not to question, and you're finding your way through it all. So I am not surprised that he's not looking good in OTAs, because this is all brand new stuff to him on top of all the stuff that he's now having to unlearn from last season and everything else. So don't get too freaked out about Cam Ward not looking great right now. It is June. It is OTAs, or it was OTAs, and he's learning everything new again, whole new situation. So just give him some time before we start freaking out and calling him a bust, okay? And so the next piece I want to get to here real quick, where it says Cam possibilities, is I want to get to that because in the face of all of this stuff that people have been overreacting about Cam Ward at OTAs, and I'm not saying that he's going to definitely figure it out and be amazing for us. I believe that he will, but I know that there's a chance that he won't as well. It's only a second year. But we got to be reasonable about all of this stuff. And so something I saw a graphic on here that I know, saying let's be reasonable, it might sound ridiculous to be saying that with this graphic and what it is when I reveal it to you here in a second. But it's not saying that he will become this. It's saying let's take a breath and take a beat and relax a little bit and give him some time, okay? So, because the reason that I wanted to bring up this graphic is because it's from TriStar Titans over on X. They have a graphic here that has Cam Ward on one side, Warren Moon on the other side. Once again, I am not saying now, because I know that people love to overreact. It seems like in our society these days, people are looking for reasons to just get stupid. If you saw the NBA Finals the other day, the New York won, and people are out trashing the city, destroying vehicles and stuff. Like, come on, guys, let's get our heads on our shoulders and be better than that. Let's not look for reasons to get stupid and overreact to stuff, okay? Like, I'm telling you right now, if the Titans win a Super Bowl in my lifetime, I am going to lose my mind. But I'm not going to go out and destroy property and use it as an excuse to be crushing cars and hurting people and fighting against the police. I'm not doing all that stuff. So let's just be better than that, guys, okay? But anyway, this right here, let's not overreact. But it says what they said here, TriStar Titans. Warren Moon didn't have the greatest rookie season either. And look how his career turned out. I mean, Warren Moon is maybe not even arguably the best quarterback that's ever been the quarterback for our organization. Yes, you have Steve McNair there as well. But Warren Moon was with the Oilers, and he is still, people still know his name. People still talk about him. He established himself in that way to where now, all these years later, we're all still talking about him. And then even it was a big deal when Cam came, because Cam wanted number one. Warren Moon wore number one. It was a big deal that Warren Moon came out and said, yes, you have permission to wear my number, because nobody else was even allowed to wear that number before, because Warren Moon did so well for this organization. So it says, and let's look how his career turned out. I'm sure he threw a few picks in the OTAs before his second season, talking about Moon. Warren wasn't going to let some bust of a draft pick wear that cherished number one for no reason. Cam Ward will be just fine. So the graphic here shows first season stats, right? So Cam Ward, his record of wins and losses was 3-14. His completion per attempts was 323 out of 540. Completion percentage was 59.8. His pass yards his rookie season, Cam Ward, were 3,169. He had 15 pass touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 159 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Warren Moon, his rookie season, went 3-13 because they had one less game back then. Completion per attempt, 259 out of 450. Completion percentage, 57.6. Pass yards, 3,338. Passing touchdowns, 12. Interceptions, 14. That's double what Cam Ward had last year. Rushing yards, 211. Rushing touchdowns, 1. So in almost every category, Warren Moon was worse than Cam Ward in his rookie season. So let's not freak out. Let's not already be calling Cam Ward a bust. He hasn't even had time in a stable situation yet to be able to prove himself. And in an unstable situation, he did really well in the second half once he found his footing last year. So once again, let's avoid the positive hype. Let's avoid the negative hype. And let's just see what happens and give it some time, okay? So let's be reasonable there. So the last thing that I want to get to, guys, here today before I end the show is corrections. So I told you guys last week I misspoken a couple of times, and man, I'm telling you, people want to hammer you if you just say, oh, I think it was this, and it's not even the story you're reporting on. It's just another piece of information you're bringing in. Some of these things are part of the story that I'm talking about, and so if I do misspeak, I'm telling you, man, I've got show notes. I do a lot of research on this stuff before I put it out here, and sometimes I just might, in the moment, look at the wrong number on a piece of paper or speak the wrong name because it's similar to another one that I'm talking about. So I'm not perfect, and so give me some grace. I would appreciate that. I'm a human as well, and so when you're here on the camera, it's a little bit hard. Just give me a little bit of grace. So, but I did tell you too that I do want to know if I make mistakes without being smeared, because I want to come on and correct them. I don't want to be the reason that you guys are spreading wrong information because of something that I said off the top of my head in the middle of something that I was talking about. So a little quote on here for you guys is if you're fans of Step Brothers, when they were in the office doing the interview in the tuxedos, the one guy's doing the interview, and then there was a whole Pan situation. And I think it was one of them, Will Ferrell, I think his character leaned out and said, let me help you with this whole Pam situation. I wanted to talk about this whole Chim Chig situation. So if you watched Friday's episode last week, I was talking about the tight end position and just throwing out a question for you guys to consider of if Gunnar Helm or if Daniel Bellinger is going to really be considered by Brian Daboll as the tight end one to start the season. And I laid that out if you want to watch it and see all the details about it. And I did say multiple times, I think that it's going to be the way that most of us are assuming. Gunnar Helm is going to be tight end one this year. But go back and see that conversation or report that I did on it and just consider the points that I laid out there. I'm not going to go into it now. But I was talking about Chig Okonkwo as a part of that conversation. And when I first went into it, I called him Chimre Dike because the Chim and the Chig in my brain was getting mixed up. So I apologize for that. I said Chim Dike, and then immediately I said Chig Okonkwo, and I said, I'm sorry if I said a different name. I didn't mean that. I'm talking about Chig Okonkwo. And then I turned right around and I said Chim again right after that. So I apologize for that. That was a simple mistake and a mix-up on my brain. I knew what I was talking about, and it was Chig Okonkwo because I was talking about the tight end position and that he left and went to Washington and got a 3-year deal over there for, I think, $30 million. And then we brought in Bellinger on his own 3-year deal for $24 million over here. So I wanted to correct that. And then I also misspoke about what else was it? I've got it on here. Sorry, I'm going a little bit longer today than 20 minutes because I just wanted to make sure to walk you guys through this stuff and then correct these things as well. Let me see here. Corrections. Okay, Chim Chig, Helm's draft position, his pick. I had prepped to talk about the tight end position, but I also prepped to immediately talk about on Friday's show the center position. So when I was talking about Gunnar Helm, he was drafted in the 4th round. I looked at my sheet and I saw Pat Coogan's draft position in the 6th round. So I accidentally said that Gunnar Helm was drafted in the 6th round. So I apologize for that. But somebody called me out on that, so I want to make sure that I got to that. And then also I mentioned that, and nobody said anything about this, but I caught myself. I mentioned that, I think we got a steal on Nick Singleton in the draft. And I said some people were even considering that he might have gone possibly as like the number 1 draft pick at running back. What I meant in that was obviously Love was there. So what I meant is maybe the number 1 pick after the obvious number 1 pick of Jeremiah Love. So anyway, just wanted to make those corrections, guys, because I said that I will always be upfront and honest with you. If people call me out on that's fine. Just don't try to smear me, make me look super bad, and try to make people not watch this show just because I misspoke a little bit. That's all I ask is let's be in this together. Let's move forward together and really try to get some good news and information, spread this stuff around and let people know what we're talking about here, and be in this thing together as Titans fans because we all love this team. If you're watching this show, it's because you love the Titans. Nobody else is watching this show unless they're a Titans fan or if they know me personally and they're trying to help me out and do me a favor to get some views up. So, guys, I appreciate it. That's all I've got for today. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Share this show. Follow me over on X at Ohio Titan. And guys, outside of that, I appreciate you being here as always, and I always will. Thank you, and I will see you guys next time.